Today, we talk about... But I'm realizing why it's so weird, because I'm literally sitting here alone. Can you imagine? I'm like literally talking to myself right now. But it doesn't feel that way to you, and it doesn't feel that way to me. I feel like I'm genuinely just having a conversation, but it's the perfect kind of conversation for me because it's one-sided. And this was another reason this was so hard for me to like kind of wrap my brain around the fact that people would ever be interested in listening to what I had to say, because I can't remember the last time I spoke more than 3 sentences without getting fucking interrupted by somebody. You know what I mean? Actually, 3 sentences is probably generous. So I actively have to like filter myself like a triple distilled filter of what goes through my brain before it can come out of my mouth, and that's super fucking tiring to do. You know what I mean? I get so jealous of the handful of friends I have that just like, you bring them somewhere, you plop them with whoever types of people, and they will be just fine. And they'll feel no brow of sweat from it. They'll just do their thing and brush their shoulders off like it never happened, and that's life. And I'm very jealous of those people, but it is what it is. It's not me. But I will say I think it's put me in a position to be able to take advantage of platforms like this, because this requires you to be okay with just like doing what this is. So I think this, to me, you know, kind of mentally fooling myself to feel like this is a social interaction is probably why I'm feeling a little bit less stir crazy now, I guess. So, you know, whatever. Which I alluded to earlier as one of the goals of this thing, is to allow me to, you know, use my voice box and be comfortable and just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about and bounce those ideas out into the world. And this is part of why I also want a big audience, is because, well, everyone wants a big audience. Like, why would you want to put in this much effort just for like 2-3 people? No offense for the 2-3 people that watch. Granted, there's going to be more of you watching. I really appreciate you guys. It blows my mind. Like, I remember getting my first 11 subscribers on YouTube. Took me weeks, multiple weeks, and each and every last one of those subscribers was just like a fucking party. You know what I mean? But now I'll like go to bed and I'll wake up with like 22 or sometimes more than 22 subscribers just by going to bed, and I haven't uploaded in like days or whatever. It's like crazy to me, and it's so funny. Like, I'll upload a video, come back hours later, and it's already got like hundreds of views, and I'm just like, it's just like sometimes you have to sit back and just process that for a second. Like, literally hundreds of you. I'm basically seeing in my head. I'm basically seeing hundreds of you within that lens, just kind of like staring back at me from like, I guess, you know, far, far away, for all of you to kind of fit in that lens. That's the incredible thing to me, is like I'm able to talk to all few hundred of you within this first hour or so that this is going to go up, and then over time, you know, next thing I know, for some videos, especially of course, it's always the ones you least expect, am I right? You come back and it's like thousands of views, and I'm just like, what the fuck? That's like literally everyone in this building like staring up at me and just like seeing what I'm up to. It's just like so crazy. But anyway, yeah, so the whole point was, it'd be nice to have this big audience, because with more audience, you get more perspectives. With more perspectives and more life experiences, you get, you know, more learning, in my opinion. So, you know, for me to like put my thoughts out there into the world, because I'm not perfect. I don't think I have all the answers. And I think that's why I'm excited for this podcast as well, is because I'm hoping to bring like this objective view. Oh, that just reminded me. Another goal I had for this podcast was, I can't stand, and I'm sure some of you guys out there can appreciate this, I can't stand when like you're viewing something and you see it's so fucking biased, and then, you know, you're trying to see the opposition present the opposite of the bias, but it's either not registering with people, or there's just not big enough audience for people to register that unbiased or, you know, dual biased view of a particular topic or issue or current event or whatever. And it would be so dope if I could create a reliable, trustworthy platform where I could be one, if not the only, but ideally just, you know, one of the voices that you come to for a balanced observation of multiple different perspectives. And I feel like a lot of people probably had that objective and goal when they first start out, and then things happen when you know, kind of grow and day. So that's just facts of life, I guess. And hopefully that won't happen to me. But I mean, this is episode 0, baby. I get to fucking say and do and wish whatever I fucking want, bitch. I'd like to, you know, kind of coordinate a little bit better with my, you know, cutaways and all that kind of shit. But that's kind of fucking extra work too, you know. And now I'm debating if I'll just like have them both running together. Although I'll have to see how the positioning will work, especially with this view. You know, I definitely want to take advantage of this view. It's beautiful. We got, I don't know if the Warriors are in town playing the Knicks. It's fucking blue and gold up there. But anyway, so fuck, I had a point to all this. So I was debating a few different names for this podcast, and I think I've settled on the podcast. But another name of the podcast I was debating was The Deep Dark Daydreams of a Doctor Digging Deeper, aka the 6D podcast. And this was a play off of an inside joke I've had with my friends, where we always joke about how certain people are playing 3D chess with you, where they're thinking 3, 4, or 5 moves ahead. And then, with my Drake fandom and OVO fandom and, top season, etc., I started to use 6D. So while everyone else was using 3D chess, I was using 6D, motherfucker. And so I thought it'd be funny to come up with something that would be reflective of 6D, but I just felt like it's not something I could grow into. If I were to become much bigger and a little bit more mature than I even am now, that may not age as well. Whereas the podcast is it's very flexible of a title for a lot of growth. So I think I'm sticking with the podcast. But at one time I was debating that. The Deep Dark Daydreams of a Doctor Digging Deeper. Because I just wanted to take this brain I've not only had, but filled with all this medical knowledge, all this pop culture knowledge, all this music, entertainment, art, creativity, life experience, day to day, just throw it all together and just give you my fucking take, bitch. That's what I want to do. And some of my thoughts are very dark. Some of my thoughts are very evil. Some of my thoughts are very, ooh. And that's probably a big component of why my friends would reach out in those early written entries and be like, bro, are you okay? Are you on drugs? Do you need help? Bro, I'm worried about you. It's just come on, man. The problem with this is, one of the other main things I've learned over the past couple of years is you don't truly appreciate how vast the human existence is in terms of what it can handle. There's just a big majority of people out there who just cannot handle hearing and or processing certain types of information. It takes a special quality of person. Not to say that person is better than anybody, and I'm not even throwing myself into that mix, but there's people that can process certain things that other people just can't see past the initial sting of. And as much as I want to sit here and say I'll find a way to overcome that and bring the subjective way of approaching very deep or very cringy or very uncomfortable topics, I'm not going to hold myself to it, because that's probably going to be, excuse me, a lot more effort and or not worth the effort, I should say, compared to the kind of lashback I could get from such a thing. But I really haven't thought this out very well, as you can tell. I just wanted to get going, man. I just keep hearing, and I don't know if it's because I was in the midst of doing this myself, but just lately in the past couple of days, I've heard of multiple people oh, I just started a podcast, or oh, we're going to be starting a podcast, and upcoming on the podcast. It's just it seems like everyone's having a podcast now. And I've had a couple of friends who started podcasts, but they flaked out. They it just wasn't for them. And this really isn't for everybody. You got to really be about this shit. But that's the other reason I was excited to do this, because I feel yet again people are going to just misjudge and assume that I'm either not going to do it or not continue to do it and fall off, or it's not going to grow, or day to day. But it's just motivation, baby. And yeah, I'm not very pleased with how the content's coming out so far in terms of how entertaining I think it is for you guys, but at the same time, again, this is all just part of the process. You got to understand that this kind of thing is going to happen. Let me think here. So that was one thing. Now I can pull up the list of topics, and I can see if maybe we could cover a couple of them. It seems like we've been at this over an hour. So what I'm going to do? I'm actually probably just going to cut this short around 2 hours. Because I really don't want to have to go through all this fucking footage for nothing. That's another fucking factor, man. The more footage I have, it just means the more hours I got to spend editing and re-editing, and it just becomes too much, man. And then add on the fact that this is just yet another facet that I'm adding on to fucking everything else that I'm doing. It can be overwhelming. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but let's. The only way to know is to find out. So hold on to your butts.